Here we go.
Seen into a pile of rubble. We are live on the scene right now. Welcome to the Noon and Bianca Peters. Officials say it was an incinerator shaft on the corner of the high-rise building that came crashing down, bringing part of the facade with it. This video showing the moment when that shaft came crashing down in the Mott Haven section of the Bronx. Onlookers from nearby buildings watching in horror as this all went down. We do have team coverage of the collapse first at noon with Arthur Chin and Antoine Lewis on the scene. Let's kick things off with Arthur. Arthur, we did hear from officials a short time ago. Well, what's the update on this?
Let's go over the details, Bianca. At 8:10 this morning were the first reports of an explosion here at this location. This is 205 Alexander up here in the Bronx. This is a massive NYCHA complex that spans from 137th Street to 135th Street. And as we turn up there, pieces are still coming down off this building. Let's go back to that video that we just showed our viewers, which was obtained by Fox 5, showing the collapse. This was shot, we are told, by a resident in a neighboring building. It shows the top part of that chimney stack raining down. That's more than 20 stories high and came crashing down to the ground. It is an absolute miracle at this point that nobody was hurt. An FDNY source says they went over surveillance video to see if anybody was walking in that area. There was one gentleman that they saw, and they say even that person has been accounted for. So at this point, there are no injuries to report. Now, 2 apartment lines in that building are fully evacuated as officials are trying to figure out whether or not the building's structural integrity still stands. Here's part of what Mayor Adams just said now after being briefed here at the scene.
It seems in preliminary investigations, there was some type of explosion. This happened at 8:10 this morning. We received reports of an incident involving the chimney to the boiler room here at NYCHA's Mitchell houses. This resulted in a partial building collapse.
Now, this is video from the back side of the building, the other side from where we are standing. You can see that the massive wall is still dangling on its own without support, and that is one major piece of work that needs to be done, as this will have to come down and has to be removed carefully since it's attached to apartments. They can't simply just saw it off. As for the cause, the mayor pointing out today, October 1st is the first day that heat was turned on here in the city. There are some reports that people smelled gas prior to this collapse. That's being looked into right now. We also asked the commissioner of the Department of Buildings if there was current ongoing work being done on the boiler that sits directly below the point of collapse, and this is what he just told us.
My understanding is that work was being done on the boiler. I don't know if our friends at Fire or Con Ed want to speak to that. A permit was pulled and work was being done on it actively.
All right. Well, there are 2 issues at this point. The first one is, when will residents be able to go inside? And then the other point is, because this was a boiler, it might be the main boiler for the entire complex here. Will it interrupt gas, which means heat, hot water, at this crucial time when temperatures today started dipping? But really, the key thing is to remember that we are thankful that nobody was hurt in this. The investigation continues. Right now, let's go over to my colleague, Antoine Lewis, who is on the other side of this building. He's been talking to people on that side. Antoine.
Arthur, that's right. Just to put it in perspective, everybody, Arthur is on the opposite side of where we are right now. What you're seeing behind me is what's called the collapse zone. Photojournalist Maura Bertoli is giving you a look at it right now. This contains the pile of bricks, believe it or not, the air conditioning units, as well as other debris that fell once this building partially collapsed. Now, also here, just arriving on the scene, Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson is here. Other high-ranking members of the NYPD, they're all observing this, looking at the scene right now. We can also let you know that officials told us that they searched this pile of debris, this collapse zone, with dogs to make sure that there were no victims, no one was trapped. And as Arthur just pointed out, thankfully, that does not appear to be the case. Take a look at the top of this building, though. Maura's going to zoom up now so you can get a look at that. And this is the top of a 20-story building here. It was opened in 1966. This is the Mitchell houses. And you can just see on the way down where those bricks fell, just from the top of that, where that shaft was when it happened. happened. And as you come down to take a look at that, I want to show you where it ends up, because once we get to the full look of that, you'll see that the debris fell right on top of a playground. And given that this happened at 8:10 in the morning, thankfully there were no families out, no one with walkers trying to see the kids. We know that the older kids were in school, of course, but it is absolutely a miracle that no one was injured. Nonetheless, we spoke to some of the residents who described what they saw, who told us what they heard, and just take a listen to what some told us earlier.
So I was in there with my 3-month-old, and you feel like you feel the explosion happen. You can smell it slightly, you feel it. I look outside the window, I see people, they staring at the building. Again, it happens. You start to see smoke. People is like standing down. They going like this. They like, get out. The building is collapsing. So instantly, I took my 3-month-old, panicked a little bit.
My mother was in the building. I got a call from my sister. They were panicked. They were surprised. They heard a big boom. They don't know what happened. They heard that maybe a car broke into the, crashed into the building.
Now, as you come back to us live, part of the big boom is right because the expressway is right near us. So a lot of people talked about the trucks, that maybe it was something, a tractor trailer or something that was coming around, the corner or down the block here off of Linden Boulevard. But this is, again, where everything took place. This is what's happening here. 1,700 residents, tenants live in this building, live in Mitchell houses, according to NYCHA's website. Again, those that are impacted by this building are being relocated to a makeshift temporary housing. Again, as officials try to figure out who can go where, and then impact the people that are displaced, trying to find places for them.